up and happy new year, everybody. Welcome to Brandon's Face. It's the podcast about a playlist. I'm Jonathan Beardsley.
And I am Brandon May.
It is good to be back, is it not?
It is. Happy New Year, everybody.
Yeah, we've been doing our album of the year episodes for the last month or so. We took a few weeks off for the holiday as well. This is our first time actually covering some new music in some time. So the nerds that we are, I'm sure we have a lot to say about some of the releases on the playlist this week. But before we get into that, let's kind of talk about the subject that just is everywhere right now, and it's the lack of a subject. By now, January 11th, the Coachella lineup is usually out. This is not always the case, of course. I'm sure you'll cite some examples, but it is a little odd for recent history for it to not be out yet. Based on your Reddit investigations that I'm sure you've been doing and whatever else, whoever you're talking to out there, what is your guess as to what is holding this up?
It's weird, man. Coachella used to be the first festival of the season to announce, and they used to still dominate the feeds and the news cycles. But what's holding this up? It's got to be some sort of negotiation.
With a headliner?
Yeah, I think it's got to be some sort of negotiation. You know, it's funny. I saw a report of somebody who books A-listers, or who has worked with people who have booked A-listers. And like A-list celebrities are weird. Where, like, for instance, oh, is that guy going to be there? How much is he getting paid? I need at least double what this guy's getting, what this guy's paying. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the politics.
And that makes a lot of sense. You know, it could also be that somebody dropped out last minute. You know, it's more than likely that, because they could. So last year we got Coachella's lineup 2 hours after the Bonnaroo lineup, and so Bonnaroo announced at 8 p.m. or 8 a.m. Pacific time a couple days ago, and I was like, cool, 10 a.m. let's go, and nothing. Now, I'm not on the socials, but I don't believe that Coachella has posted anything on their socials. No pictures of balloons, no weird stones on the Sunday service hills, nothing. So, I honestly, man, it's weird.
Something's amiss.
It's weird, but 2013 was agonizing. I don't think we got it until like the 27th or something like that of January in 2013.
So much has changed in 10 years, though, you know? Like, for right. That to be one of the more recent examples, I'm not sure if there is a more recent one or not, but like, yeah, this is odd. I think you're right. It is either negotiation with a headliner or somebody potentially dropped out. Maybe both of those things are actually true. That's quite possibly the case. I'm not sure who that person would be at this point. I don't think they're dumb enough to go back and forth with Kanye at this state. I think you were texting me the other day who you think the two confirmed headliners are, and that was Tyler and Lana, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, Tyler the Creator and Lana Del Rey. Now that's, quotes, in quotes, confirmed, because nothing is confirmed until Coachella posts the lineup, but that is my understanding.
Tyler has not yet announced a new album or any new music, so who knows. Lana coming off a pretty big album that I'm not sure if she toured around or not, so I'm sure that would be a big spot for her. I am not too sure where else they would be going. Ariana Grande is set to release her new single this week, a new album this year. I could see her taking one of those spots. But it's kind of all up in the air right now. I'm not sure who or what is holding it up. I've seen everything from Frank Ocean to the Epstein flight list being the reason that this is not out. I honestly don't know what it is, but it is curious. We'll keep an eye on it. Hopefully next year we get to do our annual run through the lineup.
Next week.
Until then, yes, next week. I'm so used to this whole fucking next year joke that everyone was doing last week, man.
I know.
All right, let's move on. Actually, let's talk about a lineup that did come out. The Bonnaroo lineup featuring Fred again as the Sunday solo headliner in what will be his only U.S. festival appearance of the year. Big news or not?
Yeah, I actually think that is big news for him. I think that it's an odd choice. I'm not sure that he's a headliner. at this stage in his career. I think that's a massive booking for him, though, and I'm glad he
Yeah.
got it.
Anybody that's seen footage from any of his headline spots or even his non-headline spots at festivals like Glastonbury knows that he's going to absolutely crush that. He could potentially have a new album out by then. He'll definitely have new music out by then. The guy is constantly creating. Um, I don't know, man. I've been up and down on the actual Life series. I've gone back and forth on him. We're about to talk about a newer song of his that I think is phenomenal. So I'm on a up with him right now. I hope we get some more like that. I I'm probably underselling the segue by calling it out, but yeah, let's move into this week's playlist because it starts with Fred again,
Let's do
his
it.
new song with Baby Keem, Leave Me Alone, which is also my song of the week, month, year. I'm not sure how to do this since we're covering all of December this week, but man, this one is a fucking banger, my man. Do you agree?
Absolute banger.
Yeah, this is. I'm sure anybody that's even been around me for like 5 to 10 minutes in the last month has had to hear this song because I just don't stop playing it. Lock It In is my Spotify Wrap top song of next year, probably. But
That's
this
funny.
is what I wanted. I've noticed that all of the songs I tend to gravitate towards of his, like this one, Rumble, Admit It, Lights Out, Turn Off the Lights, Jungle. He's all been putting those on the like USB upload album from last year,
Right.
which is kind of a weird ongoing upload album. It's a rollout that you don't see very often, but
Correct.
anytime he releases something that gets added to this playlist or this album, I'm about it, and this is no different.
Yeah, and it's also a lot different than his actual life series, which is interesting. I've put this on at work. I put it on at work once. I think Monday. It's been requested numerous. Hey man, what was that song? Yeah, So,
Of course.
yeah, of course, it's a banger. It's a let's go song. So
I don't know the social media channel off the top of my head, but there is a social channel that does sample breakdowns and kind of did the in and outs of how this one works. And it's cool to see a visual companion. You can find it on all of his social medias if you're interested. But it's interesting because this isn't like a song he made with Baby Keem. This is the a cappella of two Baby Keem songs from like two completely different ears, chopped and spliced together into this absolute banger, which is great. He also did a longer post about like the creation of this song since the first time kind of making the original version of it. He spent months like perfecting every little noise, every little sound, every little transition, remixing, doing everything to make it as perfect as possible. And I think he said Skrillex like messaged him at the end of all of this and is like, "Did you make the song better with anything that you did?" And he realized the fucking raw version is the one that everybody wants, and that's what we ended up getting.
that's awesome.
Yeah, I wish more artists were more transparent about their process as he was. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, like so there's some really good artists that actually really do that. Like Elenium puts out a lot of like production tutorials.
Yep.
The Do you remember the Matt Lange dichotomy rollout?
Yes, I do. I was thinking about it when talking about the
Uh,
USB project.
and yeah, he actually for one of the reasons that rollout was like that is because every time he was dropping a single, he was also dropping a YouTube video on his channel, like an hour and a half long video per track about how exactly he made those sounds in Pro Tools, which is super fucking cool. I didn't know about it at the time, but I have.
Yeah, out of context, it was very confusing.
Oh,
In
for sure.
context, that's very cool,
Right.
obviously.
And it's really cool the way he does it. He's like, "Hey, here's this guitar. I did this. I reversed it, and then, I did this thing to it." And it's really cool to see kind of like an insight into like really talented musicians' processes.
For sure. And sorry, Matt Lynch. Forgive me for not liking the last album rollout. Let's move on, man. We got a new one from Kate Renata and Rochelle Jordan. This one's called Lover Friend. Great track. He has confirmed a new album is coming this year. He released this track. There's a B-side with Kate Renata, or with Channel Trust, excuse me. We're kind of being more selective with how much music we put on the playlist. I picked this song because it was my favorite of the two. Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, man, I think Rochelle sounds great. Keitra still makes me feel weird for some reason, man.
Why does he make you feel so
I
weird all the
don't
time,
know, man.
Brandon?
I did like it more than I disliked it. It's the tempo. It's like it's house. It's not really house, though. I don't know, man. I don't know what it is. I can't put
You
my
have no
finger on it.
soul.
Fucking maybe.
You're not invited to the cookout, Brandon. All right. Another reason I didn't add it is because we have a channel trust track this
Right.
week. This is his newer one, Walked in the Room, came out a few weeks ago, and it sounds like classic channel trust, and that's really all I want. What'd you think of it?
Classic channel sound, man. I'm real happy with the success that he's found. I hope he's got another full project on the way this year. I think Channel Trace is on a he's on a trajectory upwards. A lot of people are knowing who he is now, and I used to be the only one recommending him on the internet, and now I'm seeing that a lot more than I used to, which is great for him. I'm happy for it, and this is his sound. He does it very well.
It's cool seeing him grow through not just time, but the other artists he's working with. Like post a few SG Lewis collabs, I'm noticing more complex bass lines in his songs and stuff like that.
Yep.
It's really cool that he not only can work with all these people, but implement a little bit of what they do in his music too.
Yeah, I have a feeling he's a learner.
Yes,
And there's a reason why he
definitely.
gets so many cool collabs. It's probably because he's really cool to work with.
He seems like he would be one of the coolest guys to hang out with. Channel Trust, come on the show, hang out with us.
For real.
All right, next up, we got a new one from Boys Noise, Higher Push. Talk to me about it.
Heavy, fast, with a bass line that just will not quit. Hi, boys, noise.
Yeah, dude, it's fucking punishing warehouse vibes on this one. I absolutely love it. Maybe we're getting a new Strictly Warehouse this year. Who knows?
You know, I was looking at this album art and I was thinking, well, it's mostly a solid color. Maybe that's what this is. Maybe he's doing another album and it's going to be mostly warehouse stuff and not just like Boys Noise Records raw stuff. But who the fuck knows? Whatever it is, even if it doesn't turn into anything, this was tight. And I'm sure whatever he puts out is going to be fucking tight because it's him.
Agreed. All right, we got a new one from Christian Loeffler and Malou called Roused. Talk to me about this one, man. I was really digging it this week.
Yeah, file this one under sounds like this never happened but isn't category.
That's my
Um,
exact note. Dude, holy shit. I was like, is he reading? Are we here on screen share right now?
That's funny. No, man, I needed you to hear it because I have a feeling it's right up your alley, and you have confirmed that thought.
Do you think Lane 8 like punched a window when he heard this? It's just like, God damn it.
No, man, I think Christian Loeffler went ahead and hacked into Lane 8's computer and like grabbed this track and was like, "This is mine now."
It's not
Because it
even really reminiscent of Lane
no
8. It's just the sound of the record label. This never
right.
happened. It could also be a little mousetrappy, but this is all to say that this song is really good. Reminds us of some of
Fuck
the
yeah,
best
it
artists
is.
in the genre right now, for
Fuck
sure.
yeah, it is. I heard this song and I was like, "Dear God, this is immediately
Yeah.
up both of our alleys. We need to hear it."
Yeah. Moving on to a track that you were probably surprised to see filed under dance until you hit play on it. It's the first remix of Kalela's new remix album. It's Closure is the song that was remixed. The amount of artists that are on this remix is ungodly. Flexuent, Bambi, Rara, Gabor, Brazy. There's a lot of people on it. I highly recommend if you haven't heard it, you just listen to it because it's so much fun. It's a fucking banger. She did a remix album for her last album, and she put so much work into these remix albums. Like not just the reinterpretations, but new verses on some of them. Like this one, A.G. Cook just remixed another song of hers that I didn't throw on the playlist this week. But man, I think I said when her album came out, I'm almost more excited to see how this is reinterpreted over time. And boy, was it worth the wait. This is just fucking great. What'd you think of it?
Yeah, man, this is really good. That was my question. Do we have a remix album coming? And it sounds like it, which is fucking awesome. And honestly, like that album, I'm pretty sure it was my number one R&B for the year, has a lot of dance in it, and like a lot
Yes.
of like
Oh, it's built
of
for a remix album.
a lot of the dance that I like too, which is that dark kind of bassy, really minimalistic dance
Yeah.
production style. And so I'm super down to hear all of the other interpretations. I'm super excited to see like who she chooses. to
I mean,
work
AG
with.
Cook is a big get for the other remix
Oh,
she
for
released.
sure.
I don't know any of the names on this, man. And like when that first new verse came in, I was like, is it gonna be too dance hall-y? But man, by the end when it's just like glitchy and doing its thing, I was like
Right.
fucking in, dude. Her album was called Raven. The remix album is called Rave hyphen in. So should be a lot of fun, man.
That's awesome.
I'm glad you dug it too.
I sure did.
All right, talk to me about this new one from Macioplex and AVNU called Serpent Jazz.
All right, man. Starting off the year with a new Macioplex track. I love it. I think this is a banger. Love that like saw bass. Dear God, man.
hmm it's that saw bass. That's exactly what I was like. It's just got that tone to it, you know, but
It sure
it's
do.
fucking saw bass. Like that's all it ever is. I'm such a fucking like it's like wine. Like you give me any cheap wine or expensive red wine, I'm gonna love them both equally. You could hit the sawtooth basic synth setting on any keyboard, and I'm gonna like nod like, fuck yeah, dude, that sounds awesome.
Exactly.
Yeah, great shit from Macioplex. I look forward to seeing what he does this year. I feel like we didn't cover him as much as I expected we would last year.
Yeah, I hope we have another full project on the way.
That would be rad.
That would be awesome.
All right, we got a new one from Teenage Mutants and Defy called Fashion. Did you enjoy this one?
I love this one, man. I don't even know where to categorize this. Is this like psytrance or something? Either way, it bangs.
Yeah, it's a very fun track. I put it here. It's somewhere in the middle.
You're
I
right.
think it's dance more than anything. Is this a sample of Bad Romance by Lady Gaga in there?
Ooh, that's a good question. I don't know.
You know, I'm gonna bad podcast and pull up the song credits here for a second. Bear with me. I don't see like a credit to her. I could swear to God I'm hearing a Bad Romance sample. Let us know in the comments if you hear it too or if I'm just fucking crazy. All right, we got a new one from Loon and Alex called Kiss the Ring. Really good. Grimy as fuck after that second drop. Love that shit. What'd you think of this one?
This is my song of the week.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, dear God, man. New year, new loon. It is. It's just great. This
New phone who dis.
right. This bass line doesn't have any business being as good as it is, and the way it progresses, like you said, that second drop is just is dirty. It's like I had my bass face on. I was like, oh my God.
Um, I don't think we've really stopped covering loons since we've started. I hope that continues throughout the year.
Same.
I also hope we get that long-awaited collab I'm hoping for.
Right.
All right, we got a new one from Fur Coat, System Override. Goes without saying that this one bangs. It's a little more conservative than I was expecting at first, but well worth the payoff once it kicks in.
Yeah.
I
Same.
imagine you loved this as well.
Oh, you know I did. This fool does not miss. But I really liked the progression on this one. He normally kind of comes
Same.
out the gate and adds a couple of flourishes, but this one was a slow builder, and I like it. I hope he leans into this style because he's really good at it.
Well, we'll see. I'm sure we will be covering a Fur Coat song more often than not on a weekly basis on this playlist, as we tend to do. Going on from what artist who doesn't miss to another, new one from Carol G, Kechimba Devita. This is just great, man. I think the first time I hit play on it, I kind of slept on it because she's so good that I'm just like, yeah, yeah, it sounds like a good Carol G song, nothing special. But then the next day, I'm like, Kechimba Devita, and like it's under my breath. Fucking love this, dude. What about you?
She's such a like a versatile artist, man. This is one of my favorites from
Yes,
her at this point. I couldn't stop listening to this one this week. The
I'm
horns,
glad,
the
dude.
confidence, that's the way she delivers everything. I wish it was longer. I think it's only like 2 minutes or something like that. I kept like, okay, well, I guess I'm listening to that again. You know,
Boy, I'm excited to show you a song next week already that I think's gonna scratch that exact itch for you.
sick.
One that probably also did as well. It's the new one from Empress of Feminine. This came out like right as soon as we started doing our album of the year episodes, and it's drove me fucking crazy because I want to talk about it. This is an absolute banger, song of the week runner up, but so what's impressive and how diverse this rollout's been. We're two songs into what has not been confirmed as a new album rollout, but the first song, Kiss Me with Rina Sawayama, is this like Rihanna late 2000s-esque pop ballad with these keys, and it's just hitting a completely different wave. And then this is just Latin dance pop banger. And she's doing both at such a high level that I really don't even know how to process it. I am gonna have a heart attack trying to categorize this album whenever it comes out. But good Lord, man, I was absolutely in love with this track. What about you?
This is the best Empress of track I've heard yet.
Oh
It,
man,
it,
maybe only second to the one with Rena, but I'm a pop fiend.
I
I
know.
will agree, this one goes so much harder than I was expecting, which is right up your alley.
It just comes together really well, man.
Would love to hear her on a Tiny track. I think his production would kill with her right now.
Oh, I agree to that.
Got a new one from Pharrell, Sway Lee, and Raul Alejandro called Airplane Tickets. I like this one a lot more than I thought I would. This is another one, hit play on it. I was like, meh. And then slowly but surely, I was like, probably because lack of options of new music to play at the time, I was like, yeah, I'll give it another try. Grew on me a lot faster than I thought. Still don't love it, but I definitely like it enough to put it on the playlist this week. Did you like it?
This somehow does not feel like a Pharrell production. Like it's done well, but I just don't think I
Um,
like it as much as I wanted to. Does that make sense?
So all Pharrell productions start the exact same way, with the first chord getting hit four times, da 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 into the beat. That's so by that I knew it was a Pharrell song right when it started. Also the kind of overblown bass at points in it, I was
Right.
like, that's Pharrell, but I will agree this song feels like he takes a back seat to Sway Lee, who's probably one of the more underrated but commercially successful vocalist in the game, and Raul, who's just a global phenomenon right now. I think it's good. I get you not loving it though, totally.
Speaking of Golden Voice festivals and Raul Alejandro,
Hit me.
the Citibank pre-sale exclusive for Governor's Ball was apparently announced today, and Raul Alejandro should be playing on Friday.
Oh fuck yeah. That should be a lot of fun, man. He's been putting out some bangers the past year or so. I'm sure it's gonna be a career spanning set, but I would imagine he's putting on a really good show if you're seeing him at this time.
Right. I'm sure he's killing it.
Okay, Brandon, let's talk about a cover that I don't hate. Arlo Parks covered Jasmine by Jai Paul. I've never really cared for the Jai Paul hype, but this cover is just phenomenal, man. Cannot stop listening to it. What about you?
Oh yeah, Arlo killed it on this one for sure.
Dare I say, better than the original.
You can dare to say that. I'm not a giant Jaipa. I've never understood it. Like I think that his music is
It's
fine.
the easiest dare to say I've ever had on the show. I'm gonna take it.
Right.
Yes, this is
Right.
better than the original. She cleared him with this one. Her albums are always so like they're good, but they're always like, this is going to be a little more folky, a little more indie, a little more R&B. Whatever lane this is, I hope she stays in it for a few songs because it's my thing.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, we got a new one from Bad Bad Not Good, Westside Gunn, and Conway the Machine called Mint Chocolate. This is under the moniker 1999 Write the Future, which I think is this new kind of open idea music collective from the 88 Rising music label, one of my favorite music labels right now. And man, what a group of artists to put together and what a song they created. It's masterful. Like, I love the combination of Griselda and Bad Bad. I hope we get a lot more songs like it. Also, album artwork of the week, if that's a thing. This is phenomenal. What do you
Oh,
think?
the entire thing shouldn't work, and it works so well. Like it's kind of crazy, man.
It's so
Um,
fucking good. I love the ad libs.
I just love the over the jazz flute. You know, like it's so good. It's so good.
Um, we'll be talking about an album Westside and Conway put out a little bit later, but that exact ad lib has been played so much this week in my headphones. All right, man. New Code of the Friend song, Oregon, first track off Lyrics to Go Volume 5. You happy with it? Are you hyped?
Hey, we haven't heard a lot from Coda last year besides those three albums he dropped. This is this is good, man. It's Coda the Friend. It's we
Yeah,
talked about it
textbook.
last year a little bit, and it's like he's not changing his style up, and he also like doesn't need to. Um, I think this is good. I really enjoyed it when it came on the playlist all week. You know.
Yeah, it's textbook coda. I love the subject matter as an Oregonian, obviously. I think it's a great track. We'll see if the Rest of the mixtape maintains this, which I expect it will, because he always kind of delivers on these.
Right.
All right, new one from Idols called Grace. How are you feeling about this rollout a few songs into it now?
All right. I'm feeling like I like him. This is I checked the production credits on this, and I didn't check the other two tracks that they've put out so far. This one is
Kenny and
produced by
Niles?
Kenny Beats.
Hmm.
I think he may be producing the whole album. I don't know. I like this one, but I do miss their older sound, which is a little bit higher energy. As is tradition, though, their lyrics are fucking great. I am excited for the album, but I really hope they put a little bit more energy into it. Does that make sense?
We're on the exact same page. I don't dislike it. I was just hoping for a little more. I think in the energy department specifically, maybe I think maybe you and I both maybe need to listen to it in a different headspace or within the context of the full album. It definitely sounds like it's building up at the end to something. Maybe it'll all make sense once we hear it in place.
It probably will. I love this band, so I'm going to be surprised if they disappoint me at all, but that has happened.
Hopefully it does not. Got a new song from Green Day called Dilemma. I'm only laughing because we just do not say new song from Green Day too often on the podcast. Like this one a lot more than I thought I would. It's catchy, should be a good indicator for the new album. What did you think of it, Brandon?
After the disaster of their last few albums have been, I am so glad to say that I really enjoyed this song.
I thank God for not leaving me out there to die.
It feels like the correct combo of old and new Green Day.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I mean, maybe they're cheating. Maybe it's a Chat GPT song that they're recording and releasing. But like they played one of the fucking New Year's specials, and like I saw
Yeah,
a
they've been in
video
the
of it on
news.
YouTube. And yeah, I didn't even see that part. But like they played the song, and when it was playing, I was like, yeah, what's this one? Like I think I know this one. Like, and I don't.
Right,
Like it's a brand new song. I only thought I know it because it sounds familiar. So I think
right.
they hit that, which, like you said, they have not their past few albums. So there's that. That's good.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm excited for the whole project. I think it's going to be fun.
drops.
I think I'm going to like it. 19th, right?
Yep, drops next week.
Sick.
All right, man. I will clear the runway for you. New Caligula's horse song, The World Breeze with me. How are you feeling?
I don't think you need me to say it, but I love this.
I'm
I
shocked it's not your song of the week, honestly.
that Loon track just fucking blew me away. This is obviously the runner up. This is a beautiful song, and I'm so glad to hear Jim's voice not buried in the mix like it has been on the previous albums. And I don't think that that's like
Interesting.
like a bad thing for those other albums, but I'm so excited for this album to drop, mainly because I think the only songs that we haven't gotten as singles are a 4-track suite of the same song, like you know, and
Yeah.
I'm so excited for that. Jim Gray's voice has to be probably one of the better clean metal vocals in metal today. Agree?
Yeah, man. Like I think at first your excitement for this project got me excited for it, but beyond that, it stands on its own merits for my taste too. Like it is the most Brandon core prog metal band I've ever heard, and his voice is a big part of that. I mean that is a compliment to him and you.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, dude, this fucks, dude. It's really good.
Yeah, I like this one. I'm stoked for it. I'm just excited, man. We're getting a new Caligula's Horse album.
All right, have you seen like a track list or anything? Do you know how long it's going to be? Have you looked at like vinyl?
Yes, I've seen. I pre-ordered the thing,
Of
but
course.
I saw a hold on, which is why I know about the. Um, I can't find it right off the top of the thing. So, but I did see a track list, and there is the singles that we've gotten so far, which I think are 3 of them, and then there's
Yep.
a 4-song suite. And if I know anything about them, it'll be close to or over an hour. And I think
Can't
it's like
wait.
7 songs.
Cannot wait.
Yeah, I think all 4 of those suites are 10 minutes apart, a piece, or something like that.
Well, you have restrained yourself to one extreme metal song on the playlist this week. It's by Abdominal Putridity, Biotransmitted Inter God damn it. Intergurgitated Interface is the name of the song. What are your thoughts on it?
Everything about this is so ridiculous, and it's impossible to take seriously, but it is fucking heavy. And
You're on such a sci-fi death metal kick lately.
oh yeah, I was just gonna say this is gonna be a fantastic addition to my sci-fi themed brutal death metal playlist, which I'll link in the show
Yes,
notes for anybody who's interested because it's extensive. So
it is.
this will be a fun addition.
Yeah, dude, this one fucking rips. It's obviously a little heavier than my taste, but I see exactly what the merit is. It goes fucking hard. Are we getting a full album?
I would assume so.
Yeah, the album artwork on this one's rad. Classic gore font, love it.
Right.
All right, we got a few EPs to talk about this week, starting with Tyla's self-titled. This is kind of just a teaser for her upcoming debut album. I just really wanted you to hear the original version of Water since somehow we only covered the Travis Scott remix of it. Whole EP is great though, man. All four tracks have single potential. I don't think any of them will be as big as Water, but On and On has been in my rotation all week. Are you digging these?
Not me having water stuck in my head for fucking weeks at this
Oh, of
point.
course.
Man, this is great.
Welcome to the club, buddy.
The little flourishes in the production, like that acoustic guitar on Truth or Dare and the looping neck scrapes on Butterflies. This whole EP is sublime, John.
Really
And
good stuff.
my next comment was, I hope we get a full project from her soon. And what you're telling me is that this is a teaser. Count me
Yeah,
in. Sign me up.
March 1st. March 1st, the full album comes out.
Amazing.
We'll be there.
Yes, we
All
will.
right. Speaking of, we'll be there. We are here for these two new Feed Me songs. We got a new little EP from him, Hard on the Line, featuring Leo Leone, and One Real Antler, One Imagined. Great song title there.
I
What are your
know.
thoughts on these ones?
What a way to start the year, John. One of my favorite producers just keeps proving why he's one of my favorites. There's like light and airy moments and then just right into deep and dark without skipping a beat or making it sound weird. Fully fleshed out and complementary bass lines. He just has such a way with chord progressions. It just speaks to me. I always want more though. Like if he were to be like,
Of
"Hey, I'm
course.
dropping like 18 songs tomorrow." I'd be like, "Sign me the fuck up. That's all I'm doing." You know?
Yeah, you'd be first in line for
Oh,
sure.
for sure.
I really liked both of these, man. I think they're a little subdued with the exception of the end of One Real Antler, but I like it when he takes a more melodic approach like this. I think it works.
And I also love that he's never cornered himself. He's
No.
never been like, this is my style. No, he's made techno, he's made house, he's made dubstep, he's made like liquid D&B. Like he does it all, man. He's good at what he does.
And if he can't do it in this project, he'll make another one to do it.
I am sad to say that my Feed Me sticker is finally melted off of
On
my
your
vehicle.
car.
Yeah, it's gone, man. The shadow is still there, like you can see it. It like melted into the windshield. I don't know how that works, but the heat was
120-degree summers that last like 5 months is how that works,
yeah,
buddy.
and I've had it for like 12 years. So,
Yeah, that'll do it. That'll do it. Global warming sucks. All right. We got a new one to kick off 2024 from Really Rad Records. And what a release. It's the ultimate emo album. Swiss Army Wife Avec Sorry, let me start that over. Swiss Army Wife, Avec Plaisir, and Celebration Guns. What are your thoughts on this one, man?
they've already delivered the CD to my house.
Of
This is
course.
great. I love all of these bands. I think these tracks all work well together. Man, this is good shit. I wouldn't call it the ultimate, but I will say it's some really good emo music, man.
We need like 12, 15 songs to go ultimate or what?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, this is actually, if I'm not mistaken, the first official release of 2024 that we're covering. And it's very fitting that it's a really rad split compilation featuring some of our favorite bands on their roster,
Right.
including my personal favorite, Swiss Army Wife, who I think deliver two absolute bangers on this project. But the tracks from Avic and Celebration Guns really deliver as well. It's a great
Oh yeah.
release, man. I enjoyed it.
Just a huge fan of all of these bands that are doing the thing and actually doing like DIY emo music, and it's really cool. It's really cool to be a part of it, you know.
Agree. All right, man. Talk to me about this next EP because it is another split of sorts, but of the dance music variety. It's called Locust. It's by a variety of different artists, namely Michael Bassar. But are you familiar with all of these? What is this?
You didn't really think I was going to let another full moon pass us by and we weren't going to talk about this Hypnus Records release, did you?
I don't, I honestly should have anticipated that. Sorry.
Every time there's a full moon, I look at my wife and I say, Hypnus Records must be releasing tonight. Um, 5 tracks, 5 different producers to wrap the year up for them. This one actually has a pretty interesting story, too. This was an open demo compilation. And so basically they had artists send their demos in. They had 140 community producers that submitted tracks. These are the ones that the label voted on to be the best 5 out of those 140. As you know, I love this hypnotic form of techno. I think 4 out of
That's
these
crazy.
5 are fantastic. The building on counter change is fucking great. The bass line is incredible on Subparcel, and I love the natural sounds and percussion kind of combining on Aurora Rising. It's just immaculate. I love this release. I think this is my favorite from Hypnus this year.
Interesting. Yeah, it's a really interesting release in that it's so many different artists and styles, but the same core sound is maintained throughout the entire project. I'm unfamiliar personally with a lot of these artists, but I like the songs. I would definitely check out more from them. Is it typical of Hypnus to do splits? I know you said that these were selected, but have they done splits like this before, or is it typically one artist per release?
They have done splits before, but typically it's one artist per release. I think they have like a core band group of producers that do like a lot of that they choose to release. But I would
Gotcha.
imagine that a label that only releases. So I follow a lot of techno labels, and a lot of them are releasing like a lot of music like all the time, like 6 or 7 releases a week.
As is tradition with techno.
And so Hypnus only releasing once a month, you gotta think that they have just a backlog of IDs that are ready to
Yeah.
drop. I was not familiar with any of these artists before this, but I am now, and that's kind of why I love this label.
Good shit. Well, we will hear what's next full moon.
Yes, we will.
All right, let's move on to the albums. Starting this week off with Nicki Minaj's Pink Friday 2. I thought this one was good, really good at times. It's just too long. The first 7 tracks flow together beautifully, but it starts to lose steam by being just too repetitious. After R&B, the only tracks on the album I really cared for were Red Ruby, Super Freaky Girl, and Last Time I Saw You, which I think leaves 12 songs on here that I could do without. That's not great for a 22 song album. It's just my opinion, but if half the tracks on your project do nothing to make it better, just cut them. Save them for later. Something. Don't just put everything you record out. I still left this album thinking it was good though, mostly because she raps and sings her ass off and does so over some ginormous samples that I'm quite honestly shocked were cleared. But man, the peak of the album for me is the 2 song run of Fuck the Club Up and Beep Beep, which both had me nodding along like I always do when she's at her best. I was hoping for more of that on this album. I'm happy we at least got some of that within this hour and 10 minutes. I'm going to give it a 6. My standout is Fuck the Club Up. What did you think of this one?
So Nicki Minaj's reputation obviously precedes herself. She's proven time and time again that she is a big league rapper and can put together a good song. I say this as like an outside admirer of hers because I don't think I've ever really listened to a full album of hers, at least close enough to review it like I have with this one.
Okay.
She does prove all of my assertions correct on this album. There are a lot of great bars throughout, and they're all performed with her signature vocals. Pretty early on with Fuck the Club Up, I can tell this album is going to be sample heavy, and not just like regular samples or anything, samples of previous hits. I'm
Yep.
not a fan of that kind of sampling or the way that she interpolates them. As she proves later in the album and basically the entire back half, she relies on them a lot with this one. There are a couple of things I really like about this album, though. The production is one of them. Everything is crisp, it's mixed well, it's intentional. The production on Falling for You is kind of refreshing, to be honest. I'm a huge fan of those strings.
Yeah.
Cole's verse is very Cole on Let Me Calm Down, as his tradition. He steals the show on the track he features on. I think her rapping is high level on the majority of this. There are times, though, where she like repeats herself on like multiple occasions. Like when she says that like people are still streaming her music. She says that like twice, maybe even 3 times on this album. Like, we get it, Nicki. You're perceived as popular. I love Wayne's verse on R&B. There are, of course, things I really dislike about it. Obviously, the overuse of the top 40 samples. Like, it's impossible to compare most producers to DJ Shadow, obviously, but he's made a pretty successful career on samples. And you wouldn't know 80% of them, probably more than that, right? When I know at least 80% of the samples in your album, I think that might be a problem, especially when they're used as interpolations and not like small
Mambo number
little
5.
things. Right. Like, also, I think it's way too fucking long, man. An hour and 10 minutes is too much Nicki Minaj, just to be frank. What the fuck even is this Drake feature? Isn't he Canadian? Why is he trying to pretend he's like Bad Bunny or Taney? He raps this whole thing as if he's some like Latin pop star, but he's not, man. This whole track is fucking confusing to me. Apparently it was supposed to be in his last album and it got cut and Nicki was like, I want it, which she should not have done. But look, man, overall, I think it's all right. It's good. It's not great. It's I dislike about as much as I like about it. Therefore, my score is a 5. My standout is Falling for You. That Drake feature did drop it down an entire score point, though. So somebody tell him to take a break already.
Fair. All right, let's talk about this new Baz album. We only talk about real shit when we're fucked up. I didn't really love
Great
the
album
singles
title.
for this one. It is a great album title. I didn't love the singles for this one. I went in with low expectations and actually enjoyed it quite a bit on my first listen, but it's not an album that really has staying power with me despite being occasionally good. I definitely gravitate towards the album cuts on this one a little more than the hits. I've always liked Cole, but honestly, these past few years, he's really not doing much for me. So even though he has a couple verses on this project, they don't enhance my listening experience. My favorite feature on the album is actually on Decent with Amaray, who's been on just a crazy run the past couple of years now. I thought they sounded great together, but one great track in a sea of good songs doesn't really make a great album. It's still a good album. Baz has never really been my favorite stylistically outside of a track here or there, but so take my opinion on him for what it's worth. But that's my take on it. I don't think the album's bad, though. I actually have it at a 6. My standout, as I mentioned before, is Decent. What were your thoughts on this one? Did you enjoy it more than I did?
Yeah, maybe. Let's get into it. This is kind of a little refreshing for me. We get like some typical trappy beats on this one, but for the most, the production is pretty original and new. Chill and laid back for the most part, with like meaningful lyrics paired with the usual Dreamville stuff. I think the choice to censor certain parts of Light My Soul is like a weird choice, but that's besides the point. The rest of the album flows really well from track to track. Black Jedi is a banger. It really is. Cole's verse on Home Alone and the chorus he lays down is actually good. I think I like Cole on this project more than I did the majority of last year. Risk is what I was talking about earlier. It's chill, it's laid back production, that acoustic guitar loop, the way the vocals just kind of like lay over the beat. Good shit. Decent is a very slick R&B track. Like you said, Amaray just fucking kills it. Passport Bros has both Baz and Cole doing their thing pretty well. Yao
Yep.
Ming is kind of funny. Cartome is really good as well. There are some good tracks on this album, like you said, and Baz shows up quite a bit throughout the whole thing, and as he should, because we haven't had an album from him since 2018. I enjoyed this album, but I'm not sure how often I'm going to go back to it. I think the Cole tracks are good. Quite honestly, I think maybe he should stop featuring on Dreamville stuff, because it kind of brings the entire project down. When even when Cole is mediocre, he's better than other Dreamville artists, and that to me, he should stop doing it, because he's
You
kind
should
of
say except Jid.
except Jit. You are correct. I forgot he was on Dreamville for some reason. How did I forgot that? I don't know. Look, man, I think it's somewhere between like a 5 and a 6. I didn't dislike it. I didn't love it. I'm probably not going to go back for it. But decent is also my standout.
Hell yeah. Um, all right, we got one more rap album to talk about this week, and that
Fuck
is
yeah,
this
we
new
do.
one from Westside Gunn, Conway the Machine. It's all produced by The Alchemist. Nash II is the name of it. The wrestling fans out there will get the name. This project sounds exactly like you'd expect it to for the parties involved, and I think that's all we wanted, man. It's Conway and Gunn rapping over Alchemist beats. 30 minutes, all bars, only one feature. They definitely make that feature count. AO ad libs from Westside on every track in abundance. This is really how all rap albums should be going forward. I'm giving it a 5. My standout's Fork in the Pot, obviously. What'd you think of this one?
I was actually pretty apprehensive about this one, man. I ended up listening to it like a stupid amount since it's dropped. There's a couple of skips on it, but overall, I think The Alchemist and Griselda are a fucking hit. These are
Yep,
some of the hardest bars that both Westside and Conway have put down on a project together at all, I think. Perfectly matched by Alchemist's dark beats. Do, 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 do. There's a few tracks that I keep coming back to from this one, though. Fork in the Pot with Schoolboy Q on it. That Q verse is fucking great. The whole
so
thing
good.
flows so well. Boom, 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 boom. 94 Ghost Shit has to be one of the better Alchemist beats I think I've ever heard, bro. Insanely hard. And finally, Fucking Get High, which apparently was originally called Buds when it dropped a few years ago. So some, not all of these are new. Some of this is kind of like a compilation thing, and I guess they recorded it back in 2016, and they just never
Interesting.
released it. And so I guess Conway and Westside was like, okay, just Alchemist, you release it, because I think they had something they couldn't do or something along those lines. I kept going back to those few tracks, man, over and over and over again. I was excited to kind of hear Michelangelo has this like drumless beat to it, which is something I'm normally not a fan of, but when I was in the right headspace for something like that, it really did
Yeah,
hit. I liked this probably more than you did. I think I'm going to give it a 7. 94
I give it a
Ghost Shit.
7.
Oh, I thought you gave it a 5. I could be wrong. A 7, and 94 Ghost Shit has to be like one of the hardest tracks I think I've heard in like a long fucking time, man.
Incredibly fucking hard.
Just
And we're on the
incredibly,
same
man.
page. Really good album.
Yep.
All right, man. Talk to me about this new one from Zebrahead 3-2.
I would love to, sir. So, Zebrahead has been doing their thing for like fucking 25 years plus at this point. And for a band that gets near zero mainstream attention, they are incredibly consistent. And I think they should get more attention. This whole album is a banger, bro. I love how often they blend genres on this one too. We've got ska on tracks like Evil Anonymous. We've got thrash metal. We've got like on tracks like the second half of Middle Seat Blues. We've got pop punk on tracks like the first half of Middle Seat Blues and No Tomorrow. We've got some
Hmm.
straight up punk on tracks like Licking a Knife for Fun. The rapping can be a little cringy sometimes, but the more I listen to it, I think it's very much them, and they've never stopped that. So good for them. I think it works with their sound, probably because I've been listening to their sound for a long fucking time.
Yeah.
At just I had such a good time listening to this one literally every day for a week. Like I listened to it every day, sometimes twice. I think I listened to it 3 times yesterday. Um, at just over 35 minutes, it's like a really easy listen, and I enjoyed it as much as I've enjoyed other Zebrahead projects, which is a lot. I'm going to give this one, it's somewhere between a 7 and an 8 for me, man. Licking a Knife for Fun
Okay.
is a massive song. I fucking love it. What did you
Of
think
course.
about the Zebrahead album, sir?
I mean, you said it all, really. It's got that classic early 2000s punk sound that they came up in, and just full of what? Upbeat riffs, catchy lyrics. There's no reinventing the wheel with this album, but there really doesn't need to be. I personally wish they'd gone a little more original in other areas, like interpolating some 41 melodies in a weird punk meets new metal way
Yeah.
on the song Licking a Knife for Fun took me out of the experience a little bit. Not to the point of ruining the album, but there's still plenty of fun to be had on it. It's just I don't think it's entirely necessary. I think their music is good enough to stand without interpolation, which is a topic you and I have been harping on for years now.
Yep.
But as a whole, man, it's a good album. I don't know if I'll be coming back to it, but I did enjoy my time with it. I'm gonna give it a 6. My standout is No Tomorrow. Really liked the
Great
intro on
song.
this one.
Great
Yeah.
song.
Moving on, we got a new one from Lakej called Oberth Effect. How are you feeling about it?
All right, man. I I know this one was challenging, but I've been listening to it since it dropped, and it's like a wild addition to my playlist. Focus, you motherfucker! Every time I needed to get things done, this thing has been playing. It is heavy. It's technical. It's distorted. It's fucking weird. It is non fucking stop, and I love it. I listen to techno at least once a day, right? This is not an everyday album, and I know that. I think they got a lot right on this one though, and I'm curious as to who's going to drop some of these in a set first. These are like midway through a 6 hour set track, you
Yeah.
know. I'm gonna give it a six or seven. I really enjoy it, but it's hard to sit down and just do this. I have to be doing something else with it. Dealing with facts though is my favorite of them. What did you think about
Yeah.
it?
It's not hard to enjoy. It's only hard to articulate enjoyment for. Like even though I've listened to it multiple times, it's hard to say anything other about it other than it's good. Like we've covered a lot of minimal techno, and I always feel like I'm repeating myself when I say it or when I say that I'm liking it, but it's just one of those genres that's always kind of hard to verbalize appreciation for. A lot of that probably has to do with my connection to this music being how it's experienced live, but that's not to say some of these techno albums can't be appreciated outside of that environment. That said, the tracks that really stood out to me on this one the most were Rivalry, Electric Propulsion, and Turmoil. I'm going to give this one, I think you had it right around a six. My standout is Electric Propulsion. I really like the just vibe of that one, that whole, I don't know, it feels like you're in a Tesla coil type of thing.
He it's
Really cool
it's
shit.
it's like he produced a track and then ran it through a shoegaze pedal or something. Like it's
Yes.
real cool. Yeah, the whole album was cool, man. I enjoyed it. I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah, thanks for throwing it on, man. All right, we got one last one this week. It's from a band called, it's either Kuchken or Kuken. The album is called ST. What are your thoughts on it?
So this band was not on my radar until like super late last year. They happened to drop this, and I just really wanted to highlight them, man. This is some classic punk rock, and I think they did a really good job with a sound that has been done over and over and over again for 50 years. Hailing from Germany, but you wouldn't be able to tell besides their name. Just a little bit of punk rock to start the 2024 off. I really enjoyed this one. It's a really quick listen. I think it's a half hour, and
Yep.
I just wanted to highlight small little band. They deserved a little highlight from me. 6.5, 7. Goat Leather is I think my favorite of the bunch.
Yeah, dude, it's like really fun, straightforward, punky garage rock. It's got energy. Most, if not a majority of the songs come in under 2 minutes, and the quality of the recording is really good considering the genre. I'm impressed by it as well. I also have it around a six. My standout is Run Away From Me.
Nice. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one.
All right, that does it for everything we're going to be covering this week. Join us next week when we will be checking out some new albums. We got new releases coming out from KÜKEN. You know we will be talking about that one. New one from The Vaccines, Kid Cudi, Armin van Buuren, 21 Savage. I'm seeing Bring Me the Horizon on a couple calendars. I really don't think that's dropping. Sorry, Kanye fans. Vultures is not dropping tomorrow. I don't even know if we'll be covering it when it does. But we will have a lot of fun music to talk about next week, as well as potentially a Coachella lineup, maybe.
Let's hope.
Um, if you enjoyed the show, please check the show notes. Make sure you're following along with the weekly rotating playlist that the whole podcast is based on. That'll keep you up to date with everything we're going to be covering on every episode. You can also find us on social media on Instagram and Reddit. Just search Brandon's Face Pod. Give us a follow. We'll see y'all next week.
Peace.
Peace.